Okay, Ghostbuster fans. Dan Aykroyd has recently, well, I don't know how recent this was because strike, but he had been discussing with the Daily Mail, yeah, I know, the Daily Mail, about possibly doing a sequel to Ghostbusters Afterlife set in the UK, which I think is awesome. I mean, why should we only fight ghosts in the US? It makes sense. I mean, this could be like a Ghostbusters European vacation type thing that the family goes to visit the UK and hijinks ensues. But anyway, let us get to the article. So, let me make this a bit bigger so I can actually read it while I'm not leaning over you like some creep. Okay. Dan Aykroyd has toyed with the idea of making a. I missed something. Some of the upcoming Ghostbusters Afterlife sequel was filmed in the United Kingdom, and apparently series creator Dan Aykroyd has toyed with the idea of making a movie there. The thing is, the locales they're shooting in now are standing in for American territory, which, okay, why? Whereas Aykroyd would want to make a movie that focused specifically on some of the myths and legends from the UK. Speaking with a British newspaper about the experience of making the sequel, Aykroyd said that he has a great experience watching. Had a great experience watching. I love working with the British crew. They're superb, Aykroyd told the Daily Mail. The studios are state of the art and vie with anything we have in Hollywood. And I have an idea for a sequel. I would set it here in the UK. There are lots of ghosts and mythical creatures in Scotland. I put 1,000 miles on the car driving up there, and it was wonderful. I went to Skye. I went to Glencoe Valley, Edinburgh, Glasgow. I loved it. It's an absolute honor to pick up the Proton Pack and step behind the camera for the next chapter of the Spengler family saga, said Gil Keenan, director of the animated Monster House and the 2015 Poltergeist remake, earlier this year. I just wish I could go back to 1984 and tell the kid in the sixth row of the Man Valley West that one day he was going to get to direct a Ghostbusters film. Afterlife featured a new cast of characters that included Egon's estranged daughter, Callie, and her children, Gearhead Trevor, okay, I guess you could call him a gearhead, and science whiz Phoebe, along with seismologist Gary Gruberson. The next generation of Ghostbusters included Trevor and Phoebe's friends Lucky. I guess it was the teenage female that was Lucky. Yeah. That wasn't Phoebe's friends. That was Trevor's, but okay. And podcast. Actually, that was Trevor's love interest, but again, whatever. Given the remarks by the filmmakers, it seems likely at least Callie, Trevor, and Phoebe will return. Especially if it's set in the UK, it would make sense that those three would return. And possibly Gary, because when we left off, there was a relationship brewing between the two, so maybe? Original Ghostbuster Ernie Hudson previously said he had seen a draft of the script. I assume that this is now about the Ghostbusters Afterlife, so I'm not going to continue because that's about the original, well, Ghostbusters Afterlife, which I enjoyed. It was like a love letter to Ghostbuster fans of the original Ghostbusters. So yeah, I enjoyed it, and it would be nice to see them return, and whether it be that that it's just the three Mini Ghostbusters are the two mini Ghostbusters are busting ghosts in the UK, or if they team up with a British version of the Ghostbusters, that they were inspired by the originals themselves. Who knows? But yeah, that sounds like a fun time. So I'm definitely, definitely, definitely looking forward to that if it happens. There was no note that said that this interview took place before the strike. I don't see why he couldn't talk about it, because this is just something that Dan Aykroyd would like to do. It's not something that's in the works, something he's promoting. It's just like, oh yeah, there this thing happened while I was on set. So that that is my guess, that this isn't an old interview, that it might have happened post strike, but since it's not technically promoting anything, then it's fine. Or I don't know who, I can't remember who produces Ghostbusters. It could be an independent studio. I don't think it is, though. So who knows? Like I said, this article doesn't state that the interview took place prior to the strikes. But all the other comments apparently came from prior to the strikes, so I'm going to say that this one was as well, which tells you how much material these publications have that is just waiting in the wings to come out. That the strike is what, 100 days old, and they're still coming out with material. Well, the SAG strike started in July, so about a month for SAG, but still, that tells you how much material these publications have to work with before they run out of things to talk about Hollywood-wise. So anyway, I will stop rambling, and like I said, I hope this project gets off the ground. Right now, though, it's just a matter of when are these strikes going to end? And hopefully they end on a good note for the writers and for the actors. But at this point, nobody has any clue. Next week, I think, they're supposed to resume talks, I think. So, well, you just have to wait and see. But I hope this project gets off the ground, because it sounds like it could be a lot of fun. And with that, I will see you guys in the next video.